Let's bring in our panel now to discuss what is going on in the ground. Of course, today, the breaking news, 2 more days of a truce, a ceasefire. Senior contributor at The Federalist, Ben Weingarten, joins us, and also policy analyst, Project 21 member Donna Jackson with us. Welcome into you both. Good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you both. So first off, there is a lot of talk about the ceasefire now being extended 2 more days. This was sort of part of what we knew could happen. Ben, your reaction to the fact that it is happening now?
Well, my concern from the start with respect to a so-called ceasefire is that this could be 15 days to slow the spread, except for ensuring Hamas's survival. It's obvious why tactically and strategically this is incredibly damaging to the goal of destroying Hamas. It buys them time to recuperate. It's going to enable them to resupply. It's going to blind Israel to their movements. It rewards the jihadists effectively in this sort of 3-for-1 trade. The longer the ceasefire goes, the stronger Hamas gets, and also the stronger the international pressure on Israel. So while we can acknowledge, of course, that for the families, this is a huge breakthrough, the return of hostages. On the other hand, over the long term and for Israel's survival and America's national interest in the region, I think this has the potential to end up proving a disastrous slippery slope.
Yes, and it's important to underscore 183 are still being held, 18 children, 8 girls, 10 boys, 43 women. They could release all of them and just do that as well if they wanted to, Donna. I mean, we're seeing these videos of people being released, but we're seeing videos of Palestinians chanting death to Jews at the same time. It is extremely disturbing when you know the price that they're being exchanged for.
Well, absolutely. And I think that the ideal behind this administration is really trying to pressure Israel to make concessions, so to reward the Palestinians for their bad behavior. I mean, this is awful. They're trying to make sure that these events actually become a success for the Palestinians, and they want to force them into this kind of 2-state nation with the Palestinians who only goal is the destruction of Israel and to kill all Jews. I mean, the Biden administration really needs to take a look at itself and decide whose side they're on, because right now it doesn't look like they're on the side of our allies. And for Israel to be the only country in the Middle East that actually has a democracy says a lot about this administration. Obama hated Israel. Obama created the worst sanctions against Israel of any administration. And now Joe Biden seems to want to continue that success in forcing Israel into this 2-state nation where actually it's going to end up Israel being liberated.
Well, you know, we're also we're waiting the president to speak today at 2 o'clock about the supply chain, but we know that he's been, you know, obviously taking victory laps, and, you know, the polls have been disastrous for him. So this is somewhat of a way for him to try and get a win, Ben. But, you know, the 4-year-old Abigail, beautiful child who is with family and safe. You know, an interesting side note there is her great aunt, and she is the only American released so far. Her great aunt is Lisa Naftali, someone who is a huge Democratic donor, has purchased Hunter Biden's artwork. Look at this beautiful child. And, you know, is someone the House Oversight Committee wants to talk about with some of the money transfers. She got a big job, a big sort of diplomatic position just this summer after buying art. What's your take on sort of, I mean, it is a small world, but this is pretty small, and she is the only American released so far.
Yeah, obviously, these ties raise questions that it's horrific to even have to be contemplating. And I think an important point to emphasize here is that, to my co-panelist point here, the Biden administration has engaged in a maximum pressure campaign against Israel. The Trump administration engaged in a maximum pressure campaign against Iran. That's all you need to know about the Democrat versus Republican parties. To this Democrat donor who it appears bought Hunter Biden's artwork, then gets appointed, nominated to a presidential commission. The end result of supporting the Biden administration, which is the 3rd term of an Obama Biden administration is the empowering of our worst adversaries. It is the underwriting of and legitimating of Iran and all of its proxies, including Hamas. It's empowering Qatar, which harbors Hamas's leaders, and Qatar has been the chief mediator celebrated by this administration in connection with the hostage for terrorists swaps that have taken place. So this is the consequence of supporting the Democrat agenda, and it's horrific that it leads to a scenario where you have a 4-year-old who's going to deal with unspeakable trauma for the rest of her life. The nexus to someone who appears to be essentially a crony of the Biden administration only makes this even a more disgusting and demoralizing situation for the American people.
And I have about 30 seconds. You know, we talk about Iran and all the proxies, too. I mean, the Biden administration, you probably know, Donna, it took away the Houthis' designation as a terrorist organization. I mean, that's really, you know, another layer of all of this. They're not trying to be forthcoming with, you know, the sanctions that haven't been enforced in Iran, really giving them the billions of dollars over the past few years.
I mean, this administration actually rewards terror domestically and internationally. And that's what you need to know. The reason why we're in this situation in the first place is because there's a lot of bad guys that are energy rich, and he's made them richer with his policies. So, you know, the destruction is awful.
It sure is. We're looking live there at the West Bank where the prisoners will be released, the Palestinian prisoners. And obviously we're waiting for the other hostages, Israelis, to be released today. Maybe some Americans. Great points you make, both of you. Donna, Ben, a pleasure to have you both. Thank you for your analysis today on Newsline.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.